should let me love you forever, forever. I wanna love you. Will you let me love you forever, forever and a day, 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 day.
Do I look snatched? I decided that I was going to be Darcey and Stacey with my eyelashes, even though there's just one, and my lips. Do I look snatched? Oh my God, I'm such a mess. You guys, welcome. It's Tuesday. We're doing Darcey and Stacey, season 3. Oh, I didn't have fake nails or I would have done that too. Season 3, episode 2, Pageant Mom and Drama. Linda said I'm snatched. Am I snatched? Do my lips look bigger? I took the whole day to have a spa day. I didn't, but does it look like I have a spa day? Anyways, you guys, let me get serious. Okay, so we're gonna do some housekeeping. I'm gonna try to be serious right now. Support the show. Support the show. I see a lot of y'all in the live chat, so let me say a couple of things first and foremost. If we don't stream live from Facebook anymore, so you're not going to get any of the notifications. The only thing I suggest is make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube and our Patreon. If you're subscribed to our YouTube, then you turn your alerts on, then you will get the notifications. But just put in your thoughts. We go live 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time almost every day, Monday through Friday. And you know, it varies just depending on what's what, but 8 p.m. that's our show time. Oh, is my lash falling off like Stacey and Darcey? My bad. Let me fix it. All right. So we're streaming on YouTube. My lips, you guys, I put it all the way up here and it's distracting me. It's really distracting me. So YouTube, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you are a Patreon subscriber, you're going to have different alerts because we have different shows. And so you should be getting all of those alerts. That being said, support the show. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up right now. And we have, my face is killing me right now. I can't even take myself seriously. We have super chats, super stickers available. Feel free to support the show in that way as well. Listen, look at my lips. Look at Darcey and Stacey just after their surgery. I think it's very similar. And I got my lip gloss and lipstick from MAC under, $30. And I feel like I have the same look. No? You agree? Anyways, let me get started. Okay, I got to stop all of this nonsense. I'm pulling off my lash because here's the thing, you guys. I don't understand with all of the production and there's hair and makeup. I don't understand why they do these two girls so wrong. You know what I mean? Why am I seeing your extensions in the back? Why are your lashes falling off? Like, can we not do better? I can't. I had to take it off because there's a lot going on there. Anyhow, I did my Darcey and Stacey impressions because that's what I was distracted by this episode. Hey, Dream Big. Hey, Linda. Hey, Ashley. So the episode starts off with Darcey, Aniko, and Aspen. They're shopping because you know that Aniko, she is entering teen Connecticut. And so she needs all of her pageantry outfits and all that stuff. So they're taking a day to look for outfits. And so they get to the store. And what was so funny is that, you know, it's all about her daughters. And Darcey's like, I'm a pageant mom now. Should I be wearing a pageant dress? Like, do I need a pageant dress? And Anika's like, no. Do you want people to look at you or do you want people to look at me? You just need a mom dress. Like, just a mom dress, that will be good enough. And it's funny because, you know, what I'm noticing about the two daughters is that they really have their heads on their shoulders. Like they're very, very, very well-rounded. And I think that Mike, the dad, the granddad, has a lot to do with that. Let me just take 1 minute to shout out Michelle. Michelle, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. I would go and get my microphone, but that was a whole thing yesterday. Happy birthday. If you don't know, Michelle has helped me over the last year, 2021, moderate our Facebook page. So I appreciate you, Michelle. I hope you've had a beautiful, beautiful birthday. As our brand and our show and all the things expand, I just really appreciate you. So happy birthday to Michelle. Linda's like, you didn't have to go all the way to Turkey either for all of my extras. Although I had to take it off. I couldn't take it for 5 seconds. It was a lot going on. That all being said, Aniko is going to be in a pageant. She is trying out for Miss Teen Connecticut 2021, which is so interesting because if you've been watching the show for a while, we already covered that. We know what happened. She did very, very well. I don't want to give you spoiler alerts at this moment, but I will say this. She did very well for her very first pageant and her being like 16, right? So they're shopping and Aniko calls Darcey extra and a fangirl and realizes that that's just her mom's personality. Her mom is extra. Her mom does the most. And that may not be her personality, but she realizes that that's her mom's personality. So she's like, you know, I get it. But what you're not about to do is embarrass me in any moment. So there was that. And so Darcey's like, are you sure I don't need to wear a pageant dress? And she's like, no, just a mom dress. And here's the thing that was interesting. She points one out, and Darcey was like, I don't think I'm that big. I just got it all sucked out. And I was like, see, so here is a little sneak peek into some of the insecurities that I think that Darcey deals with, right? So I've met Darcey, and she's not big. She's like just not a big person. She's little in stature. But I think that she deals with a lot of insecurities. And I think that that's part of why we've seen so many like transitions and surgeries and all of this stuff. And it's nonstop, right? Because even when they got back from Turkey, if you follow their social media, they just got their eyes down again. They got their lips redone, all the stuff. And so there's a lot of backstory of that. And it kind of makes me sad because I wish that they would deal with whatever the inner trauma is. And when I say that, I think back to the last episode when their dad, Mike, was like, you know, you can do all the changes in the world, but it starts from within. And so you have to deal with whatever is going on from within before any of the exterior stuff is going to matter. So that being said, Darcey's still worried about her friends Debbie and Raina because things have been tense with them. She's nervous to tell not only her dad and her daughters that she's back together with Georgi, but she's already told her friends, and her friends are like, you know, F you and deal with your shit, basically. They're like, you know what? This is not a good look for you. We've been there from the day one. And there's too many like break up to makeup, break up to makeup, break up to makeup. I just got distracted by my earrings. Do you guys see that I put on my Darcey earrings as well? I did the whole thing. It took me 5 minutes to get my lips done, my lash done, and my earrings. But I'm about to take them off because they're distracting me. But I had the whole snatched look, you guys. Snatched! Anyway, so Darcey's back with Georgie. None of us are surprised by that because we knew that they weren't really broken up. Period. Hey Olivia, hey Dream Big, hey Dasha. They weren't broken up in real life, I don't think. I think that this was just part of the show. I don't think that Darcey has the capacity to really see what's going on with the type of relationship she has yet. But the good thing about this is that she entered therapy, and I think that that's going to be a great thing for both her and Georgie. And I wish that she would do not only couples but individual therapy, because I think that you have to get to the root of the trauma in order to deal with your own stuff. So after shopping, she meets with her dad and her daughters, and they're having dessert, and she tells them that she's back with Georgie, and they're like silent. They're just looking at her, right? So to kind of like break up the tension, she's like, oh, let me try this pageant walk. So down the sidewalk, she was like, oh, I popped up a comment and I don't even know where it's from. Oh, there it is. Okay. So she walks down and is like sashaying down the sidewalk. Do I got it? Do I got it? And both her daughters are looking at her like, no, you don't got it. Like, no, this is not a good look for you. But she also explains that she has decided that because she's working it out with Georgie, that she's going to have to move back into her dad's house, which is the whole thing, right? Because, you know, the two daughters live with Mike, the grandpa, which is her dad, full time, right? And I think that that's what part of the reason why they have their shoulders on their head on their shoulders is because he's just a really good influence. And so now Darcey is going to move back to the house because she's going to let Georgie stay in the apartment while they work out their problems. And the dad's like, you know what? This is like such a roller coaster. You know, I don't want any more drama. I don't want any more bullshit. I don't want any of it. So if you can kind of guarantee that, then okay. But I'm not okay with it. And he's worried because he doesn't know if Darcey can figure it out. And that's, I think, what we're all worried about. We're all worried like this back and forth, because even if you look at present day social media, they fight nonstop. They're like, oh my God, oh, we're broken up. Oh no, we're not broken up. Oh, we went to Miami and it was great, but oh no, it was not great. And she'll call them out on social media all the time. And then they're back together. And so when season 2 ended, I was like, did they really actually break up, or is this part of like the plot line? But no, it's part of their everyday life. They break up to make up on a regular. And so her family is just kind of over it. And especially Stacey, which we'll talk about later. So then we see Stacey and Florian, and they're driving to the apartment because they're going to pick up some of the stuff that Darcey has listed that she wants from the apartment, because now, even though she's together with Georgie, she is spending time apart. So she's going to live apart and they're going to work on their problems in their relationship. So they're driving, and Stacey's like, you know, you want to do breakfast? You want to get something to eat? And Florian's like, no, I'm good. I'm not hungry, blah, blah, blah. And then he's basically like, oh, but all I want is you. You're the meal and you're the dessert. You're my everything. I was like, oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. What is happening right now? But what's great about that is that obviously they're completely, because they've been together, you guys, for like 7 years. So obviously they're completely in love and attracted to each other and all that stuff. So it was a good look. It was a good look. So Stacey's super pissed. She doesn't really understand why Darcey's giving Georgie a chance. And she's like, you know, This is like hard to watch. I really don't want Darcey to get hurt again. I don't trust him. I don't like him. All of those things. And Florian says, you know what? Yeah, there's been a lot of ups and downs, but I need you to not be in the middle of this. I need you to like step back, let Darcey fight her own fights, and you kind of just be on the sidelines, which she absolutely can't do as her twin and just as her sister. And Florian's like, okay, so here's the thing. I want you to be more like a kitty cat. Just like smooth, low key, all this stuff. And I'm not going to remind you guys how I feel about cats. So I had a hard time with this analogy, but whatever. And Stacey's like, no, I'm more like a mama bear. You know, I can't go in all quiet and stealth like I'm going to come in roaring because I don't like him. I don't trust him. I think he's using my sister and I'm mad that, oh, look at Texas Gina, you made it. I'm mad that Darcey's giving him another chance. Like, she's so mad about it, you guys, so mad about it. So they get to the apartment, and they have a list of things that Darcey's asked them to pick up. They knock on the door. Can we come in? All the stuff. And you know, Stacey jumps in right away, you guys. She's like, what are your intentions with Darcey? I feel like you're just going to go back to your old ways and you're going to fight and break up and you're going to get back together. And it's an endless toxic cycle. She's like, I'm over it. And then George is like, you know, no, my intentions are not to hurt your sister. It's to fix the relationship and be together. We've booked some couples counseling. And Stacey's not buying it. Stacey's like on 10. And she was like, you know what? You live here rent free. Okay. You're super selfish because even in this conversation, you talk about it's been a hard time for you. Well, what about Darcey? It's been a hard time for Darcey because you've been living off her back. You've been milking her for everything. You ain't got no job. You ain't have any ambition. You got nothing going on here. But meanwhile, all of a sudden you weaseled your way back into my sister's life and I'm not having it. And she's like, you don't even have a job. So like when we were in Turkey, what is it that you were doing? And he says to her, oh, well, while I was in Virginia, I was doing massages. And she was like, you were doing massages in Virginia while we were in Turkey. I don't believe you. She freaks out. She's like, you are lying. You're a liar. Why would you even lie about that? Which is something that's crazy to me because why would he lie? Because we already know that he hasn't had a job. And I want to take it back to his ex-girlfriend, you guys, or an ex-wife. Remember last season when we met his ex-wife and she basically said that he looks for sugar mamas. She basically took care of him their whole marriage. And he's been here for, been in the United States for a very long time, right? So what exactly is his job? So he's like a celebrity, and this is in loose quotes, a celebrity massage therapist / model. But now he hasn't been working for years because the pandemic hit, all the things. But then what? Like, shouldn't you have to pivot? Shouldn't you have to decide okay, this is not working for me because everything's shut down. I have to do something else. But he's not going to do that because guess what? Darcey pays for everything. He left his roommate apartment situation to move in with Darcey in her house. And then they rented an apartment that's under Darcey's name. So now he's living rent free. So I can understand why Stacey's like, what are you bringing to the table besides using my sister because she pays for everything? You ain't got no job. And now you're lying to my face and say you have a job. And you did some massages for the month that we were away. Stop it. So that whole thing went down. And then we head over to Aniko's orientation. She's getting headshots done. It's like the first day of pageant stuff. And she feels like she's been really working hard to be, Miss Teen Connecticut. So they get there, and I want to talk a little bit about when they get there. So they drive there. It's Stacey, Darcey, Aniko, and Aspen, right? And they get out of the car, and Darcey's got this full-on fur going on. Last season, I talked to you guys a lot about their extensions, and I'm not mad. I wear extensions all the time. But I don't love like the track show, and I don't understand the hair and makeup on this show. Like, it's clearly an international show. I don't understand why they let Stacey and Darcey run around amok. Like, why? When you see that her like tracks are showing, why is no one telling her that? I don't get it. I'm still like super, super confused by that. So they get out to this pageant, and they're looking a hot mess. And it was very distracting to me. It was like very distracting. However, they get there, and Darcey's being Darcey. She's being loud, and she's so excited. She's gonna be a pageant mom, all this stuff. She starts like chanting, "Pageant mom, pageant mom, pageant mom." And Aniko's like, "Can you just take it down a notch, please? Because I get that you're outspoken. I get that you're loud, but you're being too loud right now. And it's embarrassing to me." And Darcey's like, "Well, you know, the dad, Mike, Grandpa Mike, always said, keep your eye on the prize. And we're keeping our eye on the prize." And, you know, Darcey says actually a lot. And so it was interesting this episode to find out where she got the origins of that, because she says it all the time. And apparently it's from Mike, to keep your eye on the prize. So they get there. The girls are excited because they've also announced that they're all going to Miami, and they're doing it for their House of 11 beachwear. They want House of 11 to be an international, global sensation. And the girls have been to Miami before. And so what they love of Miami, and if you guys haven't been to South Beach, I felt it in my core. I felt it in my core, because Miami will change your whole life. But they love beaches, they love the shops, they love the restaurants, and of course they love the boys. And when they said they love the boys, they did these air kisses, you know? And I thought, like, you know how Italians like, Bella. That's what they were doing. They're like, the boys. And don't forget, they're only 16 and 14. And you know, when you're 16 and 14 and your hormones are raging, it's a hot mess. So they meet up with Brittany, who is Aniko's pageant coach. Did I say coast? Coach. And they talk about like confidence. They talk about walking in the room, and you have to introduce yourself to everyone and make sure that people know that you have arrived, kind of thing. And I don't really, because I don't know anything about pageant life, and I don't know, like, if pageants are so relevant in 2022. What do you guys think? Like, is that a thing that should continue? Because I know when I think of like Victoria's Secrets, and they used to have the Victoria's Secret models, they still have that, but in a different way. And I feel like pageants are kind of in that same vein. Like, I'm not sure. What I learned this episode, which I love, is it's about confidence and feeling beautiful and comfortable in your own skin. But still, there's all that judging. So, like, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the live chat. If you're watching the replay, definitely let me know what you think in the replay. So we talk a little bit about Darcey and Stacey when they were 16 and how they didn't have any confidence. And here's the thing. I'm going to pop this up here. So they show this throwback photo of Darcey and Stacey when they were growing up. And if you guys remember, Darcey and Stacey, they were bullied when they were growing up. They said they had no friends in school. It was just the two of them, all of that stuff. And when I look at this photo, listen, they were gorgeous girls. And I've already talked to you guys about what I think they're coming from, like that childhood trauma that they haven't dealt with. Because, you know, these girls are what's the best way to say? They got a little spice in them, right? But they grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, a predominantly white school, and the standard of beauty was blonde hair and blue eyes. And so they weren't feeling like they were beautiful, and they felt like they were bullied because, they had a little bit of melanin in them. And that's what's unfortunate to me, you guys, is that they're trying to eradicate that part of themselves because they grew up thinking there was only one standard of beauty, and that's kind of sad to me. However, they talk about how they didn't have the same confidence as Aniko has when they were 16. They showed this picture. I think that they're beautiful. I think that, beauty doesn't have a standard. And so they talk a little bit about that. And then Aniko goes into her orientation. Darcey and Stacey can't go with her. And she goes in and, she's 16. And a lot of the girls are older, right? Because the pageant allows for 14 to 19. And a lot of them are like 18 or 19. And this is Aniko's first pageant. And she is nervous, but she's confident at the same time. And so we are wishing her well. Meanwhile, because Stacey and Darcey couldn't go into the convention orientation, Stacey decides that she's going to bring up Georgi and the fight that she had when she went to pick up Darcey's stuff. And she's like, when I went there, it was awkward. It got heated. And then she tells Darcey about everything that allegedly Georgi was doing, meaning that he was doing massages in Virginia while they were in Turkey. And she's super skeptical. And she realizes that that Georgi was lying to her face. And so she's mad about it, right? Because you can already tell that Stacey's like done. She's done 100% with Georgi. She's just done. She's just like tired of the back and forth and the breakup to makeup. She's tired of all of it. And so she's like, I'm good. So she doesn't believe that he had any type of job, because if he had a job, she would have heard of it because Darcey would have told her, which is true. Meanwhile, it's therapy day. Darcey meets Georgi at the therapist. He's hopeful. She's skeptical. We meet therapist Amanda, and they're there because they want to figure out their issues. Darcey says we were engaged, but we're not engaged anymore. We have communication issues. He has consistency issues. He's afraid to open up, and she wants to trust him, but she can't trust him because he's done so much to her in the last few years. Now, on the flip side, Georgi thinks her trust issues are from her past relationships. And he's like, she's been hurt. She's been manipulated. True. Lied to. True. Cheated on. True. And so he feels like she's bringing a ton of baggage to the table that she's not dealing with, which is completely true, you guys. And he thinks that he's never really given her a reason not to trust him, right? Which, what I learned about this whole situation and them going to therapy is they both need therapy. Darcey has some deep-seated childhood trauma that she needs to deal with. And the thing that is always interesting to me, you guys, is that when I listen to Darcey speak, she speaks almost metaphorically. She speaks in what's the word I'm looking for? She speaks in that talk where you're like, I want to be the change that I see in the world. I love the world, and be the change and keep your eye on the prize. And I'm my best person ever. And I love myself. And I have to, you know what I mean? Like that self-help talk, but that is actually how she talks. And so it's confusing to me because I'm like, are you just saying a bunch of stuff that you've read and heard? Because who talks like that? Like, be real. Yes, Dasha, she speaks very inspirationally, and yes, geek girl, platitudes, but like, do you believe the things that are coming out of your mouth? Because they're just so generic. It's like, every time I hear her, I feel like it's something that she read somewhere. So anyways, she's saying all of this, he's saying all of that, and the therapist asks, so Georgie, have you done nothing that triggers and brings on Darcey's hurt, feelings of manipulation, feelings of cheating, feelings of being lied to, all of that stuff? Do you not do any of that stuff? And he's like, I don't know, maybe I do. I don't know. And then Darcey gets into that talk. She's like, I want to break my old habits. I want to break my old patterns. I don't want to be the same Darcey in the past that has allowed those things to happen in my life. I want to move forward. I want to live in my power. And I'm a strong woman. Okay. See, that's what I'm talking about, because literally that's what she said. And then she tells Georgie that the things that he's done, he can't make any excuses for that. And then that's when I was like, I'm a bit confused, because like, what exactly is their issue? Like, what did he's a freeloader. Definitely, I think he manipulates and uses her. He has no job and no money, and he lives off of her. So, I mean, those are things enough to be like, oh, I'm done. But the way she makes it seem that he's done different things besides the fact that, hey, he's living off of you like he's your third child. I don't know. So she says that Georgie doesn't take accountability. He lies, and he needs to come clean. He needs to be more vulnerable. He needs to be more open. And that's the only way. Good night, Geek Girl. Good night, Michelle. Happy birthday. Hope you had an amazing one. It's the only way she's going to be able to open up to him is if he comes clean with all the things that he's done, all the lies that he does, and if he opens up and is not closed off, he's more vulnerable and more open, then she'll be able to have a conversation with him. And then Darcey tells the therapist about the massage lie, which is kind of like a weird thing. Like, in my thoughts, I was like, are you guys making up an issue? Because why would you lie about doing massages in Virginia? Like, I don't understand what the big deal is. I don't understand why Stacey got mad. Was she mad that he lied to her and she thought he was lying? Or the fact that he said that he was doing massage therapy in Virginia while they were away? Like, it was very confusing to me. I don't understand what the issue is exactly. Like, he needs to work and he needs to get a job. And if that's his trade, then go ahead and do it. But if he's lying about doing it, I don't know if it's as big of a deal as Stacey was making it. Anyways, obviously Stacey told Darcey. Darcey tells the therapist about the massage lie. And he's like, and then they ask him, did you do massages while you were in Virginia? And he's like, no, I was being sarcastic because she made me feel uncomfortable and she was being super rude to me. I was like, what? So you lied because she was making you feel uncomfortable? It's a weird thing to lie about. It's weird. And it's weird that it's the big issue in your relationship. Because what was the issue before you came to this point? So he admits he hasn't been working, and part of all of that makes him feel less than a man when he's not working and he can't provide for his family. I was like, we've known you this whole time and you've not ever worked. You've said that you're a massage therapist, but as soon as you came on the scene, you guys, he's never worked. And that was pre-pandemic. He still didn't work. Do you guys remember that? He was a model, fitness model, but we didn't see any of his fitness model gigs. We didn't see any photo shoots. He was just proclaiming that he was a model. So ever since he met Darcey, he hasn't been working. But then he wants to go ahead and say that he feels less than a man when he's not working. and he can't provide. He feels emasculated. So all of that led him to lie to Stacey and say, yeah, I was doing massages while I was in Virginia. And then Darcey tells the therapist that she's paid for everything. And, she was okay with it at first because she just thought he was in transition and eventually he would get on his feet. But year after year after year after year, he didn't get on his feet. And then, yes, the pandemic hit. But what was he doing before the pandemic? Oh, what? Nothing? And so she's like, I don't want to be used. I'm not a sugar mama. I will never be a sugar mama. I'm just not into it. Then she tells the therapist that he has a lot of debt. And it reminded me that if you guys remember that his car got repossessed because he wasn't paying it, but he didn't care about it, right? So he definitely has a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of it is all financial. And, he's been living off of Darcey for many years now, and I think she's fed up with it. I think that's what it is. And then especially when we met his ex-girlfriend, and the ex-girlfriend said the same thing, where he is looking for a rich woman to live off of, and he was on sugarmama.com or whatever it is after the relationship wasn't working out. So he definitely has a pattern, and he definitely has like some consistency in what he's trying to do or not do. It's crazy to me. So he goes on to say that, he feels emasculated. He wants to be proactive and he's trying the best. But is he though, you guys? Is he? Like, what? I'm just curious. Like, what is it? What are his goals? What's his long-term plan? Because he can only be young and fit and beautiful and a massage therapist for so long. And then what do you do? That's my question. Like, what is it that you're trying to do? Because again, you guys have to remember, he's been here for many years. He already has an ex-wife. I think it's like 10 plus years that he's been in the United States. So like, what is it that you're trying to do? And if you don't know, then that's what you should focus on. Like, what do you see the next 20 years of your life looking like besides living off of Darcey? And that's why I personally think that he's fighting for this relationship for so long. It's because he has it good. He's, like Stacey said, he's living in a great apartment rent-free. All his bills are paid. He doesn't do anything, but he's living off of this woman. And so when she broke up with him, he had nothing. And that's what I said to you guys in the first episode. I was like, so where was he living when he was, back in Virginia? What was he doing? Was he living on the streets? Because as soon as Darcey came into town and they met in New York, he stayed in her hotel room. So what would you have done if she's like, no, you can't come up to my room? Are you sleeping in Central Park? Like, what is it that you're doing? And how are you feeding yourself and clothing yourself? That's the part that I want to talk about. I don't know. It's crazy. So the therapist asked them, who's the better listener? And it's crickets, which I thought was a really good question because both of them don't listen and both of them don't think that they have issues when they both have issues. And so Georgie's the first to speak up. He's like, we don't hear each other. We don't talk. We don't listen. We talk over each other. And that's the problem. And then he says that he doesn't feel heard when he's talking to her. And so Darcey thinks that, she's trying to understand him. But anytime she's trying to understand him, he spins it and blames her. And that's what triggers her. And then they label it the trigger tango. So each of them are doing the trigger tango with each other, and they're not listening to each other, and they're not communicating properly. And that's why they've been having all of these problems. So the therapist says that they both need to work on their communication skills and they need to develop new communication skills. And part of that is going to be to repeat back what you heard, which, it's a good tool, right? So if I say, the sky is so blue and gorgeous, the other person says, So what I'm hearing you say is that you think the sky is blue and cloudy. And then the other person says, no, that's not what I meant. I meant the sky is blue and gorgeous. And then the other person says, oh, so by gorgeous, you mean you like it. So I'm hearing you say the sky is blue and you like it. So that whole thing, right? So that's what the therapist wants them to do, is to communicate and to repeat back what they've heard so that they can understand, which I think is going to be hard for both of them because they both don't communicate very well. C. Cruz says, I love a good therapist, and I thought the one they saw was great. I absolutely agree with you. She took a completely neutral stance, and she realized that she was dealing with a lot of crazy, and she didn't like dive into it. She was like, let me just keep it to the basics with these two. And so Georgie goes on to say that he wants to show Darcey more love and understanding and attention and patience, but he's not feeling heard by her. And Darcey then starts crying because she thinks that she's been hearing him the whole time. She thinks that she hasn't done anything wrong in their relationship. And she realizes in that moment that she thinks that he's changed and he's actually trying to deal with the issues. Geek Girl says the outfit that she wore to the session. Well, I mean, I don't know. She had her black shorts on, her red bottom heels that were like high boots, this backless shirt. I don't want to even talk about her and Stacey's hair because it's always a hot mess, but you know, she wanted to look cute for her man, Geek Girl. So Darcey really feels like they made some headway in this very first session. And I want to tell you that with the thing is with 90 Day Fiance, the thing that kills me, you guys, is that we see one therapy session. Y'all need to go to therapy ongoing. And you're not going to fix your problems in one therapy session. So I hope that they've committed to ongoing therapy, because I see that they go like once. They maybe go twice, and then that's it. They think they're healed because, oh my God, we had such a great session. That's not how therapy works. It's ongoing, and you're not even at the tip of your issues. You're just at the opening scene. Anyways, on the flip side, Stacey and Florian are having a spa day because they're stressed with all of the drama between Georgie and Darcey. And I think that's really a twin thing as well. Like, I think that for Stacey to feel like she's super stressed out, even though she's in her own relationship, but she's worried about her sister's relationship, says a lot about what's going on with those two. And so she feels like she needs a spa day. And so they go to the pool. I think it's the rooftop pool from their apartment. And she brought Florian a present because we find out that Florian doesn't know how to swim. And so she brought him those flotation devices that you put on little kids' arms, which I thought was hilarious. But there was like a whole banter between them because he's like, I'm not putting those on and I'm not going in the water and I don't think it's going to fit. It was like a whole thing that went on. And we find out that back in Albania, Stacey did try to teach him how to swim. And so she taught him how to do like the doggy paddle, but he wasn't into it. And she just thinks that, you know, he doesn't want to get his hair wet. So he's like, I don't need to know how to swim. I'm good. I'm good. And then we meet Shannon while they're having their spa day. So they're having champagne. They're pretending to go swimming at the pool on the rooftop of the apartment they live in. And they do a FaceTime with Shannon, which is Darcey and Stacey's first cousin, who lives in Miami. And they call her because they want to tell her ahead of time that, hey, we are coming to Miami because we're coming to Miami Swim Fashion Week. And we're going to launch our House of 11 swimwear collection there. So they're super excited about that. And so they're telling the cousin. And here's the thing I want to tell you guys about the cousin. And I've been trying to tell you guys, but you guys are not trying to hear me. So cousin's beautiful. cousin has a little bit of melanin because guess what? So do Darcey and Stacey. They've been running from their whole life, and I totally get it, you guys, because they grew up in an era where there was only one standard of beauty, and that's something that they just have not dealt with ever. And that's why, like, if we look back at what these two really looked like, you know, they were, and even here they have highlights, but they were brown hair, brown eyed, pop of melanin in them because their dad is from an island off of Africa and that whole thing, right? So I get it, and I feel sad for them because I feel like in present day, the standard of beauty is not what it used to be back in the day where it can only be one thing and what you saw on TV. People are beautiful in all shapes, colors, ethnicities, heights, all the things. And that's the part that I just really want them to deal with. It's very sad. Olivia is asking, are they wearing blue contacts now? Well, I'll let you answer your own question. Do their eyes look blue in this photo? And the answer is no. Their eyes are not blue. So, you know, it is what it is, I suppose. So, we meet Shannon, and or we don't meet her, but we hear her on the phone. And what I thought was so funny is that I need Florian to do more talking because he's so funny, you guys. He's like that dry sense of humor. So he doesn't say anything on this FaceTime call until towards the end. He's like, as if he's on a business call. Thank you for your time and God bless you. That's all he said. He heard all the stuff that Stacey was saying. And the thing with Stacey is that she was saying a lot about her sister. And I often wonder if they have a sister rivalry because she was spilling out a lot of stuff that she probably shouldn't even have been saying to anyone because it's really not her business to say it. But she's like, yeah, you know, Darcey and Georgi are not in a good place and they're not engaged anymore. Like, just totally gossiping to her family members, knowing any of you guys that are in a family that has a lot of family members, it goes through like the gossip grapevine. And I just don't think it's necessary. It's not necessary. Dream Big is asking how old were they in this photo. According to the show, they were 16 in this photo. So teenagers, 16. And yeah, so that all being said, they're talking to Shannon, and Shannon's like, basically, you know what? I don't care what's going on. I don't care who shows up. I don't care about any of that stuff. All I care about is that whoever comes, we're going to have a good time, and I can't wait to see you. That's what she was talking about. Then we learn about her background. So she's the wife, she's a mom, she's an entrepreneur. She opened up a healthy fast food restaurant that's doing very well in Miami. She's married to NBA star Ray Allen, and they're like a power couple down in Miami. And so Stacey's worried that when Darcey goes down, because Darcey tends to compare herself to people and compare her life to people, that she's going to go down there and compare her life to her cousin Shannon and think that it doesn't measure up, which I think is a really sad thing to say. Like, that's sad. I think it's very sad. Texas Gina says, I think Darcey is jealous of her sister. I actually think, I don't know. Like, I know there's some jealousy going on, but I think it's both ways. I think Darcey's jealous of Stacey having a stable long-term relationship, but I think that Stacey's jealous of Darcey's successes. And yeah. And so I think it feeds off each other in a negative way, but it's unfortunate. So, we go back to Darcey and Georgi leaving therapy. Darcey's ready to put in the work to her relationship. She tells Georgi about Miami and invites him to go, but she wants to make sure there's going to be no drama. And in order for them to be no drama, she tells him to apologize to Florian and Stacey before they go. And he's like, yeah, I will. I'll make dinner for them all. And it was a beautiful moment because you saw in that moment, and I don't know where I stand yet with Georgie. I don't know if he's in it for the right reasons or not. I can't figure it out. But what I will say, in that moment, you could tell he felt sad. You could tell he missed Darcey. And he hugged her and kissed her and literally said, I miss you. So it is apology night, and they're barbecuing on the rooftop, and Georgie's making chicken, lamb chops, baklava. He has a bunch of different appetizers. And then Stacey and Florian show up with attitude. Like, you guys, they had so much attitude. And I was trying to figure out, like, why is Stacey so mad? Like, I get that he lied to her, but like, what's really going on there? Because she seems so confrontational and so mad as soon as she got there. And so Georgie's like, yeah, I'm making lamb chops. And she's like, lamb chops? Last time he made lamb chops mean there's a fight about to happen. He's like, no, lamb chops are all like peace and love. Like, I come in peace and love. And she just continues to be super standoffish with him because she's mad that he lied about the massage thing, which I think is such a stupid thing, A, to lie about, and also B, a stupid thing to be mad about. Like, who cares what he was doing or not doing? Y'all were getting a full-on, completely different look. Like, y'all don't look like this anymore. You guys look completely different. So what? Focus on yourself. Worry about yourself. He probably had to be on the grind. He wasn't living for free anymore while you guys were in Turkey for a month. So he had to do what he had to do. I don't understand why that's a bad thing, but whatever. And he wasn't even working at the end of the day. And so I'm still confused on how he was able to survive with no money and no income, and not being able to stay in the free apartment that he has been living in for the past like 3 or 4 years. I don't know. I don't get it. So Stacey's like, I'm not hungry. I really just want to cut to the chase because this whole thing feels super awkward to me and I'm super not feeling it. And so Georgie jumps in and apologizes for making them feel uncomfortable. He's like, I'm sorry that if you guys feel like you're walking on eggshells, and I'm sorry for lying to you about saying that I was doing massages when I really wasn't. And then that's when Florian jumps in and he's like, if someone doesn't treat and make my sister happy, it's hard to respect these people. Okay, Florian, I love that you love your situation and your family. I love it. But this whole general statement about how you don't like people who make Darcey unhappy and you can't respect them, okay. Okay. It's funny to me. To that, Georgie's like, you know what? I love Darcey and I want to fight for a relationship. And so I don't want to talk about the past. Out with the old, in with the new. And Florian's like, well, sometimes you need to know for yourself what you need to do to change. So you can say out with the old, in with the new all day long. But if you're not changing yourself and you don't know what you need to change, then it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not going to work at all. So I thought that was very insightful of Florian. And then Darcey decides to tell Florian and Stacey that she invited Georgie to come to Miami. And Stacey and Florian look at each other, silence, and then Stacey rolls her eye and says, you know what? He doesn't deserve to go. I don't agree with this. I'm not on board with it. And Darcey's like, well, it's my company too. And that's what I've decided that I want to do. So he's coming. And then it was radio silence for all of them. She was pissed. He was pissed. They were all just pissed off because at the end of the day, Stacey's not for Georgi. She's not for him. She doesn't believe him. She thinks he's a big liar. She thinks he's using her sister. And she's kind of tired of the makeup to breakup. She's like over all of it. And so she's like, yeah, I'm not for this. But at this point, I guess it doesn't matter because it is what it is. If you invited him and he's going to come, then I guess he's going to come. I just hope that he's not going to bring drama because we have to focus on building our global brand. And so that's how it ended. Now, however, I tell you guys to always watch the extras for each of the episodes because the extras have so many little gems in them. So we're going to talk about that. Dasha has a question. Is the show paying Georgi? Absolutely. They're all getting paid. All of them. Even down to now that the cousin's on the show, the cousin's going to be paid too from TLC. And she's going to get the free promotion for her restaurant. And the cousin, I'm interested in seeing how that plays out because, she's married to Ray Allen. So we're going to see Ray Allen, the NBA star, on Darcey and Stacey because that would be fun. But I looked her up and she does a lot of stuff, you guys. A lot. Like she has a lot of stuff. And we can talk about it another time. So, extras. First of all, when they had their spa day, at the rooftop of their apartment building, Stacey tries to say that spa days are their favorite and they love getting treatments. And Florian's like, looks at her. He's like, no, I know like. And she's like, no, he absolutely loves it. He loves it. He loves going and getting different treatments. And he's like, no, I love you. You can do it, but not for me. Which I thought was hilarious. He was like, he turned to her and all he said was, no. Then they talked about the floaties that they had, the floaties for the babies. And Stacey talks about starting to teach him how to swim in Albania. And he's like, at the end of the day, I'm just not a water guy. And then they showed some not seen, it didn't make it to the show footage. And part of that is they went to Mass. And part of what keeps them together is their belief in God and their faith. So they went to Mass and they prayed for their sons, her brother in heaven, and both of their families. And their faith and beliefs brings them close together. And faith is number one in the relationship. And so she also mentioned how it got them through a lot of their difficult times, which if you guys remember, just before the pandemic hit, there was that whole thing that hit that he was cheating on her and there were pictures with another woman. They were kissing and they were in bed and all the stuff, like all of that. Do you guys remember that? I'm surprised that we haven't dived deeper into all of that because all of a sudden it's all good and they're good and they're like the ideal couple. Well, dude, your man cheated on you and denied it. And so I don't know, I don't know. Patty says, I'd love to see Florian in the pool furiously trying to dog paddle in his floaties. You're hilarious. Dream Big says, Stacey has 2 kids, boys. How old? Never seen them. So Stacey does have 2 boys. I think they're 14 and 16 now. I've talked about them. I've shown them. But her ex-husband is adamant that they're not part of the show. Maybe on my next Darcey and Stacey episode, I'll show you. But they're a very close family. Oh, no, wait. Did I say 16? I think they're 16 and 19 now. I think the oldest is 19. Very GQ, both of them. One blonde hair, one brown hair. But yeah, she has 2 boys and they're not ever going to be a part of the show because part of their whole agreement is that the kids will never be part of the show. However, I've talked about them before in the past on my show. I've shown them before on the past on my show. So maybe because you guys are curious, I will show you. And it looks like the live chat is popping off saying that they've all not seen him. So, or seen both of them. So I will dig through the archives. And next week, if I remember, I will show you her sons. But they're thriving and they're fine. And they live with the dad full time. Florian, so they went to church. Florian misses church. He says that COVID, really ruined everything for him. And you can tell in the show that faith plays a big part of his life and his relationship. They talk about the priest. The priest is playing ukulele. And then Stacey does this air ukulele thing. Ding, 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 ding. And Florian was so irritated. He's like, just stop. You need to stick to singing. And I thought that was hilarious, you guys. Super hilarious. Super hilarious. Then they talked about the dinner that Georgie held for them on the rooftop. And Stacey was like, that night was unexpected. She felt it was Georgie's way of manipulating them and getting his own way. And she was completely throwing shade. Like, you can tell in the episode that she wants nothing to do with Georgie. She's over him and doesn't like him. And they talked about how he always, anytime he's grilling, he always does lollipop lamb chops. And then Florian's like, yeah, he needs to change the menu. Meanwhile, they decided they were making chocolate-covered strawberries for the barbecue, and it didn't turn out because guess what? They burnt the chocolate, which I'm finding it's like a pattern with these two. Anytime they try to do anything that has to do with actually making something, they can't make it. Because remember last episode was their wedding anniversary, and they were trying to do that mold, and they messed the mold up. And then they flash back to, they try to do chocolate covered strawberries in season 1. And again, it was not a good look. So like, I just think it's funny that, I don't know if they're both like non-creative types, but they have some problems. Anyways, that was the show, you guys. It was very entertaining. I will say this. I really hope that we get to see and dive deep into the whole Darcey and Stacey situation. I wanted to play a video just to remind you guys of what this season's going to look like. I don't know how it works. So I'm going to say this is not my footage. I'm using it under the Freedom of Information Act, and I'm just replaying what is already out there. I hope that is going to be good enough because I want you guys to see what we have in store.
Mess with us. Yeah, like you're on a mission. We're on a mission. Darcey and I are the face of our own brand. We're gearing up, getting ready for our fashion show. Let's do it, Stacey. Let's do it big, baby. Yeah. Excuse me? Oh, boy. What did I get myself into?
So, you guys, I can't wait to get to Miami. I can't wait because I think that's where we're going to see all the drama. Yeah, that's the show, you guys. Thank you so much. Wherever you're watching, if you can hit that thumbs up, that'd be great. I do have, again, if you guys don't know me very well, make sure you're following me at lindaissogirlie on Instagram. I do a lot of celebrity interviews. I just interviewed Mick Steamy from Grey's Anatomy, who has a new movie coming out called Redeeming Love. And I just posted it before I did this show, and I cannot listen, you guys. The movie, I watched it. It's a period piece, and it's fantastic. And the interview is off the chain. Like I sometimes I get on one. I was on one, and they were on one, and so there's a whole vibe. So definitely make sure to check it out at lindaissogirlie on Instagram. I'm bringing a bunch of celebrity interviews because it's quote unquote award season, but we're doing it all virtually. So check that out. And then tomorrow I'll see you guys back here, same time, same place. We're doing After the 90 Days with David and Annie and Lauren and Alexi. Thank you, Dasha. Great show. You guys are amazing. I love you guys, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Ciao for now.